Alright, now we're going to look at 16 through 21, and you have to factor. So we're going to jump to 16. So 16, we have x squared minus 7x minus 12. So this is one where we need a product of negative 12 and a sum of negative 7. So you're going to remember we need a product of our last term and a sum of our middle term. So this is the one where we did the box. So over here we're going to list the factors of negative 12, and it has to have a sum of negative 7. Alright, so I'm not going to list them all. I'm going to go ahead and give you the ones that I know work. So it's going to be negative 3 and negative 4, and that gives us a sum of 7. So negative 3 plus negative 4 equals negative 7. Alright, so these are the numbers we're working with, negative 3 and negative 4. So we're going to go ahead and do our two sets of parentheses. Now, they're both going to be minus, and our variable's x. So we're going to put 3, 4. So our final answer in our first set is x minus 3, close it off in parentheses, and then our second set of parentheses is x minus 4. And that is number 16. Alright, now we're going to jump to 17. And this one is kind of lengthy. So 17, we have 2x squared plus 15x plus 18. So remember, our polynomial form is going to be ax squared plus bx plus c. And this is the format we've been working with. So let me think, how's the best way to start, you guys? Alright, we're going to factor out 15 out of 15x. So we are going to leave our 2x squared alone. We're just going to break up our 15 and our x first and leave our 18 alone. Alright, so that's the first step. Then we're going to break 15 down into an easier number. And this is so that way we can find our GCF. So 15 I'm going to break down to 12 and 3. Alright, and again, this is just to find the GCF. It makes it a lot easier if you do it this way. So our 2x stays the same. We're going to now plug in, and I'm going to put this in parentheses. 3 plus 12, close it off, 18. So now we can see that we're going to have our GCF. And our GCF is going to be 3. So we're going to factor out our GCF. And we're going to group the first two terms and our last two terms. Alright, so our first two terms are going to be 2x squared plus 3x. And that x drops in because if you remember, our 15 originally had that x on it. So that's our first set. Second set, we're going to do 12x plus 18, closed off in parentheses. So now we are going to factor the GCF out of both terms. Alright. So in this case, we're going to look at our first one, which is 2x squared plus 3x. And you're going to look for a number that both can go into, and in this case it's going to be a variable, and it's going to be x. So we're going to factor that out. So it's going to be x, then 2x plus 3x. So the first term is done. So now we're going to look at our second term, 12x plus 18. And our GCF of 12 and 18 is going to be 6. We put that outside our parentheses. So, how many times is 12 going to 6? 2. Drop your x. Same thing, how many times is 18 going to 6? And that's 3. Sorry. Lost my train of thought there. Close off our parentheses. So we're going to factor out, I'm running out of room, out the GCF again. And when we do that, our GCF is going to be 2x plus 3. Alright, so that becomes our first set of parentheses, 2x plus 3. And our second set is going to go with our second set of parentheses where we had a GCF of 6. So we start a new set, and we're going to make it an x, because if you look in our original problem, the first one is the only one where we have a number in front of a variable. I mean, a number in front of a variable plus a square. So that's why we drop that back in. Second set, we don't need that. So it's just going to be x minus 6. So our final answer for number 17, first set of parentheses, is going to be 2x plus 3. Second set is going to be x minus 6. So that is a 17. Alright, the last one we're going to look at, and still in still in that fourth section, is number 20. And a lot of you freak out when you see fractions. Don't do that. So it's going to be 1/9 s squared minus 1 over 36. Now this one is actually pretty simple. We know that 9 and 36 are perfect squares. So this one does not have a lot involved. So we're going to find the square root of 9 and the square root of 36. And I wrote that off the line. So the square root of 9 is 3. And to make that a fraction, we just do 1/3. Square root of 36 is 6. Once again, to make it a fraction, just do 1/6. So now we have that taken care of. So now we're going to draw our parentheses. And our first number, our 1/9 s squared, is positive. So we're going to write a plus in that set. Our second number, 1 over 36, is negative. So we're going to bring the sign with it right here. So we're going to make our second set of parentheses subtraction. So you're going to do 1/3 as your first number in both sets. Now you have a variable on that 1/3, so you have to write that s in both sets since our s is squared. Now we're just going to do 1/6 and 1/6. No variable, we're done. So our final answer, or number 20, is 1/3 s plus 1/6. First set of parentheses, second set of parentheses, 1/3 s minus 1/6. Close off your parentheses. And you are good to go.